Hey everyone, market update. I know I haven't been making videos and to be honest, not really interested. So if I ever have the interest, I will make one. Market is getting to an interesting point, hence here I am. Let's start with Bitcoin. But before I start, it is Sunday, November 9th. Actually currently, as I'm speaking, the government, the US government, is currently having a hearing whether or not to fund or open the government. And the consensus currently, from what I'm understanding, is that they plan to pass some type of funding bill for a short-term opening, or short-term funding. Now, this is just, a band-aid over a wound. It's still not the bigger, issue addressed. And that's, how both sides are fucking retards and can't come to a conclusion because, Trump has to get his way like a little 5-year-old kid. Um, but, Democrats will hold their ground as they should. And for the sake of the governments, for the sake of the employees, the federal employees, something should happen, right? Because it's the holiday season, people are trying to travel, and it's not fair to the people, um, that both of these sides are trying to have dick measuring contests and getting what they want. So for the sake of the American people, for the sake of the federal workers, something has to go into place, and hopefully they come to a resolution today. Now, taking a look at Bitcoin and going based off what I had posted on my Twitter, I won't be going into much detail of what plays I'm currently in, outside of the ones I gave to my server, but this looks pretty, and this is what I discussed. Let me get this chart up as well. Okay, so this is the chart that I discussed on my last stream. Okay, so as we can see, we had the rising wedge structure. There's the breakdown. There was the retest. There's the breakdown. There's the retest. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't get pumps throughout. Like I said, my macro thesis is that Bitcoin has topped. Alts should get some type of relief in the coming weeks, but I still do believe that Bitcoin has topped. Now, I will go over my invalidation level. And again, whatever happens after December 25th, after Christmas, I don't give a fuck because I won't be making any more updates or videos. But this is what I currently think, until, the invalidation level is given. So, the bullish thesis is this, that this is the start of the fourth wave up. Okay, so we swept the lows from the crash. Okay, we swept the lows. This, I'm going to go to a lower time frame so we all see this level. This 108k level is very important. All right, we flipped it to support. It was our range low for a little bit. We swept it, kept going, and then we lost it. So now it becomes an important SR level. We just swept the lows. Okay, and this currently, like even within this daily range, this is a 4-hour range. So if we're going to break this down even more, here is your range high, and there was your range low, which got tapped perfectly. Okay, now we're testing the range highs. And on a lower time frame, you have a inverse head and shoulders. And if you guys take a look, I only care about line charts or where candle body closes. So this is higher than this. I don't care about the wicks. Wicks are irrelevant in this case when you're looking at structure. And there is the low. Here is a lower low. And here is a higher low. So structure points to the upside. The target for this inverse head and shoulders, technical targets, would be around this resistance area. Okay, so I expect some type of rejection from that area. Now, if we draw some fibs as well, right, the major resistance we can get wicks into, hopefully 109, 110, and shorts there, but the major area that we have to get back above is going to be this blue line here, 108K. All right. Until that happens, we are still in a downtrend, and you can argue that this looks like some type of falling wedge, right? And the technical targets of the falling wedge, I know there's technical targets of every fucking pattern, but at the point of breakout would be around 124K. On a macro level, I am not bullish until this 117 to 120K level, this resistance area here, is flipped into support. Until that happens, this will just be a lower high rally and then back down, right? So this could be starting of the fourth wave up. If we were to do, a five wave or whatever, then this would most likely be the target, around 125 back to these highs with a max extension of like 135. Okay. But again, my target is much lower. I do think that this would be just a rally to um, the upside for just a little bit and then back down. Now I'm going to explain why that is. Okay. And we're going to go back to this chart here. Maybe this has the information. So let's take a look at the weekly. And I've set this before. So we have, you can take a look at this there if you want. And here is that. So there's a weekly div. Now let's drag it a little bit more, right? Let's go here. There's a weekly div. Doesn't matter where you want to take it. And let's drag it some more. Okay. There is a weekly div. Now, let's go to a higher time frame. There is a monthly div, a bearish divergence. Okay. You can have it here as well. All right. Now, why is this significant? Well, if we just look at fractals here, okay, and we see this same scenario working out. So this doesn't have the data, but there was a divergence here. But let's take a look. You have this move, which came back down, and if you had the entry and maybe a DCA in the middle, right, it gave you about a 40% pump from 35 back to 48. Well, let's apply the same exact logic, and this comes back down to this order block here, right? And let's say we get we're not going to get a 40% pump because the price is too high. Okay, and we can draw, this here too. So let's say this comes back down, breaks the trend line and this rising wedge, and we get a 20% pump. Well, this would be a break of structure. Okay, the monthly low is around 82K, higher low. So if this breaks, then we have a loss of structure. Weekly, we've already lost it. We've already lost the weekly structure. Okay, that was the weekly structure. Actually, We haven't lost it yet. Today's weekly close is going to determine that we have lost and broken market structure on the weekly. This will be the first close that we have at the previous or below the previous higher low. Okay. A lot of people are looking at this level here, but this level is the important one because that's the last higher low before a higher high. So unless we get above 108K today, which isn't going to happen, that is your higher low, and then we have a confirmed weekly structure break, right? This is the monthly low. So still, this remains a crucial level of support. This yellow box is one that we have to stay above, hopefully for a lower high rally, and then in my opinion back down. All right. Now, during this slow grind up for Bitcoin, or hopefully this slow grind down, strong alts versus BTC pairing should bode well. But before I go into what alts, not all the alts that I'm looking at, because I'm not going to share that with all of you, but some of the coins that I cover usually. So let's do the ETH and the Sol pairing. Sol is actually weak, but ETH is still holding this demand zone that we discussed in the prior videos as well. Okay. As long as this demand zone holds, and we even swept these lows here, this could be a higher low and possibly a fourth wave starting fifth wave higher. I'll show you what the fuck I'm talking about. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, as long as this is the fourth wave, we should slowly start to ascend and go above our 5K level. Now, we can't just talk about random levels first. We have a major level of resistance. Now, if we take a look at the daily, right, 4,200 remains our level of resistance. And now it is a very strong supply zone. So around 3,800 to 4,200 remains a supply zone where I should see shorts coming in. And most likely somewhere in the middle is where good shorts should be happening. So probably start at this here. Above and target lower. Okay. Again, would be you have your resistance here. You have a downtrend resistance and enough confluence for a rejection there. Now, here was a mini range that we were in, range lows, right? We lost it, SR point, so you could see a rejection around 37.17ish as well, but this would be most likely the short opportunity to take. And again, this looks like some type of wedge. Not a clean one like Bitcoin, but it's still valid, which again, the bullish thesis would be the fifth wave higher to around 51 to 5400ish. Okay, if ETH loses this low here, okay, around 3350, then it's I mean it's in a downtrend on the daily for sure. But then at that point we're going down to this demand zone here. Okay, 2750ish probably gets front ran around this SR point, around 2800ish. But lose this level, that's where we're going. Okay. Sol, this is one coin where I was trading heavily at once, but no longer interested. Downtrend line, it's weak, very weak, but this is more like an ascending or descending channel. You can draw however fucking way you want the trend line, and this would be a falling wedge. But again, just like ETH, here was the range lows that was lost. Very strong resistance. Now will be an SR point. So most likely shorts can be taken there. You do have a daily small supply zone there. Probably more prevalent on an 8-hour or a 4-hour. And enough confluence for, if we get there, to take a short. Not only do you have supply zone, you have an SR point, you have the golden pocket, you have a downtrend resistance line, lots of confluence to take the short. And at that point, whatever levels show themselves, you don't really know yet. You can take profits at your own support levels and stuff. Okay, Sol is one where I wouldn't put too much emphasis in. There are better coins to trade. Trade the ones with higher volume, and something like Zcash, ICP, those type of movers are the ones that you want to focus on. All right, and right now, the setups that I am looking for are setups that coins like ICP had or VeChain had before the breakout, and it's stuff like this, okay, where you have this downtrend, slow grind down, and then a breakout and retest. So, for example, I gave this setup and I hinted it on Twitter as well. In my server, ICP was one of the ones that I actually wish I held longer, but I saw the breakout of this resistance here, and around here is when I called it. But again, had the breakout, the retest. These are the type of setups that I'm currently looking for. Same thing with VeChain or VET. Okay. Now, lower time frame, higher time frame doesn't matter. Same thing that I was looking for. I actually gave this. I have a chart of it. Yeah, here we go. Oops. Same type of setup. Again, one I hinted at on Twitter, shared in my server. Breakout, retest, and then it ran about 16%. Okay, these are the type of setups that I'm currently looking for, and I know I found one in Link. It's getting ready. I have a lower average because again I shared this in my server, but again it's looking poised for that breakout. Not only that, but we also have a cup and handle forming as well. And technical targets are different. You can take a technical target of the cup and handle, which, if this neckline is flipped, should give you around $18.15. But again, just recently, it's rejecting the neckline here. So it's getting weaker and weaker, right? Because you have 1, 2, 3, like 40 touches there. So it's getting weaker and weaker. The breakout is going to happen. Now the market is pulling back slightly, but in the event that ETH does run, the market does run, this is one coin that is very interesting, but you want this to happen, okay? That is your trigger point, unless you got in earlier, and, we got in earlier, so hopefully this continues to run. It will come to a harsh rejection around this area. It was previously support, now it's an SR. So like I said, breakout from there, reject, come back down, retest, and then hopefully runs higher. Again, another rejection that will happen is this order block there. But Link looks good if the market can keep poised and slowly grind higher. LTC, Litecoin. I fucking hate this coin. It always destroys me when I am trying to trade it. Okay, and I know I've covered this before. I know I've talked about this consolidation range before. There is your resistance, right? Here is your support. It's going to break out, and eventually, once we test 135 again, I think it's going to break out. But again, the reason I'm sharing this chart is because this is the type of setup that I was looking at. Okay, not just that, but breakout, retest, and then continuing to run. Not just that, but people are shifting their focus from, Zcash and following the strength. They're talking about Litecoin. So Litecoin is getting traction. This is one coin where I do think it's going to break out and break out hard. Now, this coin always, always, always fucks me, and I don't know how to play it to the best of my strengths, but assuming that this was the top, any pullback into 103 region would be nice. Now, lower time frame, we do have an order block here. Now, the move away from this order block isn't that strong, but this could come back down. Could actually take out the highs here as well before come back down. They actually have equal highs. It did SFP and then dump. Maybe a dip back into there would be for long or for scalping. Okay, something like that. But this coin looks like it wants to run, especially with the major candles being put in. This breakout and retest that was put in looks very strong. I just hate this coin, but I do think this coin's going to run. All right, so this would be one of the coins that you guys want to keep your focus on because I do think it's going to run. There are other coins that I can discuss, but I'm not going to. I'll share those in my server. This is just a few of the coins I'm looking at. So Sol, not really. Bitcoin, ETH, obviously. Link, Litecoin, and I'll quickly cover this one because it had a nice move up, but this Zcash looks like it wants to retrace. This is usually a spinning top, and this wants to retrace. It just went and put in a lower high. Okay, so this looks like it wants to retrace, and I honestly think this can get back down to two levels, but A, B. I think this gets back down to like the $400 level. It's not going to happen swiftly. It's going to take some time, but unless it reclaims 671 on a lower time frame, okay, it should run higher because this was previously support. Now it's an SR, most likely got rejected. Above this, it runs, but this looks like it wants to go down to the $400 levels. Again, if you guys want to make better trades with higher ROI, I would focus on Litecoin and not on Zcash. But this, when I said this looked toppy, this was around like 650-ish, 660-ish. It ran down like 26%. Now this looks like a bearish structure. Lower highs being put in on a higher time frame, and here's your A, here's your B, and your C would be right around 480 to down to 430. Okay, so I wouldn't look to chase longs until this 671 is reclaimed. More so look for shorts on any impulse up. Focus on Litecoin. Again, super volatile coin. Don't know how to trade it well, but it's the strongest coin right now in the market, in my opinion, and will continue to run. All right, so that's it from me. I will catch you guys when I catch you.